when you roll the clock forward, what you end up with is American children that then become adults who look around at the world and say, well, hang on, this wasn't what I was promised. I was told that I could be anything that I wanted to be. I was told that I could have anything I wanted to have.
There's a difference between you can earn everything that is earnable and you deserve everything there is.
Most people say they want to be different, but what they really want is to be admired without being separated. They want the rewards of individuality without paying the price that comes with it. And the price is simple: distance. Jordan Peterson points out something uncomfortable about people who think differently. They often have fewer friends, not because they are antisocial, but because independent thinking creates friction. When you stop repeating what everyone else believes, the room becomes quieter around you. Being different is not a personality trait. It is a decision to tolerate isolation in exchange for clarity. Most people live according to an invisible script. They follow trends, repeat opinions they barely understand, and chase approval because approval feels safe. It protects them from criticism. It protects them from standing alone. But safety has a hidden cost. When you constantly adjust yourself to fit the expectations of others, you slowly lose the ability to hear your own voice. Your decisions become reactions. Your identity becomes flexible depending on the audience. And eventually, you forget what you actually believe. Real individuality requires a level of psychological courage that most people avoid. It means saying what you believe even when it makes the room uncomfortable. It means choosing discipline when others choose convenience. It means walking a path that does not always come with applause. That is why different people are rare, not because the path is impossible, but because most people are unwilling to walk it alone.
What God did for me made me different. So I just showed them the life. Now they all come to me for advice. You don't have to go get a degree if you're not a degree person. Now, if you want to be a doctor, scientist, or lawyer, you got to get a degree. But if you're not that person, you can still make it. Quit tripping because you don't have what he got. You ain't finna be what he is. God made you different. Just go be different. You get paid to be different. People pay you to be different. Weird people make money. Regular people don't make money. Regular people make regular money. If God made you exceptional, go be exceptional at whatever it is.
People misunderstand what it means to be different. They think it means acting unusual, dressing louder, or trying to stand out in obvious ways. But real difference is far quieter and far more uncomfortable. It shows up in your decisions when nobody is watching. It shows up in the moments where doing the right thing costs you convenience. Steve Harvey often talks about something simple, but brutal. If you want a different life, you must be willing to do things that most people refuse to do. Not occasionally, consistently. And that's where the gap begins to form. Look at how the average person lives. They wake up late, rush through their day, complain about their circumstances, and then spend their evenings distracting themselves from the life they say they want to change. It becomes a cycle of talking about improvement without ever truly confronting the habits that prevent it. Being different breaks that cycle. It means waking up earlier when no one is forcing you to. It means studying when entertainment is easier. It means building skills quietly while others are chasing quick validation. The difference between ordinary and exceptional rarely comes from talent alone. It comes from the willingness to operate on standards that most people reject. It comes from the willingness to operate on standards that most people reject. This is where the discomfort begins to separate people. When you start moving differently, some people will question you. Some will joke about your discipline. Others will try to pull you back into the same routines they live in, because your change reminds them of what they are avoiding. And if you are not careful, their comfort will become your ceiling. That is why being different requires emotional resilience. You must become comfortable being misunderstood, comfortable being the one who trains when others relax, comfortable choosing progress over popularity. Because in the long run, the life you build will always reflect the standards you were willing to maintain when nobody was clapping.
Let them judge you. Let them talk bad about you. It doesn't matter. They're not going to do anything. They don't see it realistic for you because they don't see it realistic for themselves. You were meant to be you, just own it. And then watch how life opens up in ways that you've never imagined. One day you'll look back and realize the things that you thought made you look weird were actually the things that made you unstoppable. So go be different, because that is actually your superpower. Try to be different, choose the path that you really think is right for you, that really feels right. You're unique, you're not like everyone else, and that is true. You're not like everyone else.
At some point, being different stops being a motivational idea and starts becoming a daily test of character. Because the moment you begin operating on higher standards, you will notice something uncomfortable. Most people are not interested in growth. They are interested in comfort. The truth is simple. People respect results, but they resist the process that produces them. They admire discipline from a distance, but they criticize it up close. And when someone in their circle begins changing, it quietly disrupts the balance everyone has become comfortable with. That's when the real pressure begins. Andy Elliott talks about this idea often. If you want a different life, you must become the type of person who refuses to negotiate with weakness, not occasionally, not when motivation feels high, every single day. Being different means you stop explaining your standards to people who are committed to mediocrity. You stop asking for approval from people who are not qualified to judge your direction. And most importantly, you stop adjusting your goals to make other people feel comfortable. Because comfort is the most dangerous addiction there is. Comfort convinces people that average effort is enough, that tomorrow is always available, that potential alone is valuable. But the world does not reward potential, it rewards execution. The uncomfortable truth is that many people who claim they want to succeed are simply not willing to endure the isolation that success requires. They want validation before results. They want recognition before sacrifice. And when those rewards do not come quickly, they retreat back into familiar routines. That is why different people move quietly. While others discuss success, they rehearse it. They build while others debate. They improve while others justify. And over time, the gap becomes undeniable. Because the real difference is not loud. It is built through consistent decisions that most people never see, and even fewer are willing to make. The final truth about being different is something most people only understand too late. It is not about trying to stand out. It is about refusing to shrink yourself to fit environments that reward mediocrity. Most people spend their lives negotiating with their own potential. They lower the bar when things get uncomfortable. They delay discipline until the right time. They wait for confidence before taking action. But confidence does not come first. Competence does. And competence is built in silence. The people who truly separate themselves do not make dramatic announcements about change. They simply begin operating at a different level. They wake up earlier. They focus longer. They remove distractions that once controlled them. Slowly, their habits begin voting for a different identity. This is where the real divide appears. Because once you start raising your standards, you realize something powerful. The crowd was never your competition. The crowd was your distraction. The real battle was always internal. Laziness, excuses, comfort. The quiet voice that tells you to settle for what is easy instead of what is possible. Being different means you stop listening to that voice. You understand that growth requires pressure, that improvement requires repetition, and that respect, real respect, is earned through consistency when nobody is watching. At first, people may question you. They may misunderstand you. Some may even laugh. But over time, something interesting happens. The same discipline that once looked strange begins to produce results that cannot be ignored. And suddenly, the person who refused to blend in becomes the person everyone is trying to understand. Because difference, when sustained long enough, turns into influence,